स्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादं शङ्करं लोकशङ्करं शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं वातरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम् ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिनीं व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। गुकारो अन्धकारो वैरुकारस्तन्निवर्तकः अन्धकारनिरोधित्वात् गुरुरित्यभिधीयते। ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। ॐ नमो भगवते वैवस्वताय मृत्यवे ब्रह्मविद्या आचार्याय नचिकेतसे नमः। We are in the third verse of the second section, second chapter of the Kaṭha Upaniṣad. We already know that Kaṭha Upaniṣad is a part of Krishna Yajurveda. We have Vedas as our fundamental scriptures. They are sorted into four by Lord Vedavyasa. And one of the book is called Yajurveda. Yajurveda has two different books, Krishna Yajurveda, Shukla Yajurveda. And we are in the Krishna Yajurveda Kaṭha Prashnam, Kaṭha Upaniṣad. The very word Upanishad means Upa Ni Shad. Two prefixes with one root of Sanskrit. The word Upa plus Ni plus Shat. The word Upa represents near, to be close. And Ni represents completely, without having any kind of obstacles. One should go thoroughly. One needs to be very close to the Guru or directly towards the Guru in order to study, without having any other commitments or keeping all other commitments under low priority. Being the human goal, the knowledge about oneself, Atma Jnanam, should be our topmost priority. So in order to keep as a topmost priority in one's life, we keep Ni, the prefix Ni, in front of Sat. And the word Sat represents three different meanings. Visharanam, Gati, Avasadanam. All these things are explained by me almost 8 or 9 months before or at the beginning of the class. Still, I am giving you in order to memorize, in order to think again what is meant by Upanishad, what we are studying now. So coming to the point, the word Sat has three different meanings. Visharanam, total destruction. Literally, we can take Visharanam means total destruction of what? Of my sorrows, of my unhappiness, of my death and birth cycle, the total destruction of my all unwanted activities in this world. It includes our total destruction of taking birth in different life forms. Gati, directing towards the ultimate reality. From the inferior individual life form, one will be uplifted towards the ultimate reality, which is the human goal. That is called Gati, towards the direction of ultimate reality. One will be taken through the knowledge given by the Guru from the scriptures. Next is Avasadhanam, putting an end, visiting in this Janana Marana Samsaram, coming and going through different life forms in this circle, will come to an end after listening to this Atma Jnanam, knowledge about oneself. This is the entire meaning of the word Upanishad, and we are studying Kaṭha Upaniṣad. It is in the form of dialogue between Lord Death and a young boy called Nachiketas, who is equipped with a total discrimination and a total dispassion towards the world and all other material things in this universe. And Nachiketas is an extraordinary boy. For this extraordinary boy, the Lord Death, Yama, gives the fundamental knowledge about oneself. So we are in the second chapter of Kaṭha Upaniṣad, second section, third verse in the Kaṭha Upaniṣad. In the last class, we gone through the second verse of the second session. We got an overall vision of this entity pervading in each and everything in this universe in the form of Vayu, air, in the form of sun, in the form of divine worlds. We got the cosmic view of this all-pervading entity. Now, for the sake of understanding this consciousness, which is almighty, who is the overlord of this universe, is also pervading in this individual who is the listener. This all-pervading entity who is in the form of consciousness is also entered is also the sustainer, is also the base of human body. This is being given through a logical way about the human body, through a human body. We need to understand the almighty or the overlordship of this sustainer by looking towards the activities of the human body. A logical presentation. Shankara says, how we can understand the presence of this all-pervading consciousness in one's own body, human body. This has been presented through a beautiful verse by Lord Death. We'll see. First, I will read this verse and I will give the meaning according to the Shankara's commentary. Urdhvam pranam unnayati apanam pratyagasyati matye vamanam asinam vishve deva upasate. Again, I will read. Urdhvam pranam unnayati apanam pratyagasyati matye vamanam asinam vishve deva upasate. First of all, one should know, for the survival of the body, there is a condition first, that body should breathe. Body should have the presence of air, vayu. Namaste vayo tumeva pratyaksham brahmasi. In our tradition, there is a beautiful prayer. O Lord, who is the form of air, the vital force, you are indeed the pratyaksham Brahma, direct Lord, which I can feel. As we know, without the pranavayu, we cannot survive more than 5 minutes. That's all. Maximum I'm talking. For the shutdown of the entire organs in the body, it may take 5 to 6 minutes if there is no presence of vital force in our body. So prana vayu, the vital force, is important in a human body. So in this verse, the vital force who is entering into the body in the form of pranaha. We all know our body is inert, insentient. What is meant by the word insentient? That which don't have the capacity to stay independent. It should draw some energy from certain things outside, lending certain support from an external entity for its survival. When we come to an example in this empirical world, all electrical instruments are inert. It can only work by the presence of the power electricity. We know that. A fan is inert if there is no presence of electricity. A light is inert if there is no presence of electricity. Similarly, all electrical equipments can only involve in their respective work when there is a presence of electricity. Similarly, this body, if you analyze completely, it is intelligently put together. Like Swami Dayananda says, scheme of things intelligently put together to serve a purpose for another person. Lot of things are intelligently put together. Wherever there is an order of intelligently put together, there is a science or there is something to study on that. When something is dumped, there is no study, there is no science on that. That's why we have anatomy. So our body is intelligently put together. Everything is well arranged. So much care and genius involved in this arrangement. Human body. 206 bones, 2 ears, 32 teeth, 1 nose, 2 eyes, 2 hands, 2 legs, 1 heart, various nerves in different size. All these things are intelligently put together to serve a purpose for another person. This body is inert. We know that. How do we know that this body is inert? After a period of time, this body becomes completely dead. Nobody can wake it up. We can put a lot of effort. Once something is departed, this body cannot survive for more 1 second because it is dead. The dead is called inert. Something which is not responding, something which is not reacting, something is not working at all according to what I want or what I mean. This is called inert. And an inert body can only work in this world due to somebody's presence. For the time being, we take the presence of pranaha, the vital force, this air, which is going upward. Here it is told like this. The prana, which is unnayati, urdhvam pranam unnayati. Even though this prana, the vital force, make the body to survive, who is behind this vital force? Because there is an order. Wherever there is an order, there is a person to order that laws. The ruler being there, the rules are being facilitated and followed by all beings. In this body, we take this prana due to somebody's presence. Without the presence of that entity, this prana will not go inside. There is an order, there is a niyamam, because there is a niyamaka, a person to ordain. There are orders in this body. Due to the presence of this entity, the prana goes inside the body and it divides itself into 5 different forms, which we know, one who are not first time in the Upanishad class. The prana which we take upward through the nose goes inside and it divides into 5 to do various functions. Prana, Vyana, Udana, Samana, Apana. One vital force enters inside this body and it divides itself into 5, and these 5 forms get different names because of the functions what they do. One who goes inside, it is called pranaha. One who do certain works inside the body to push through the mouth or to clean our nose, we need the air from here to the nose outside. Udanaha. Samanaha, one who helps to digestion. Samanaha. Vyanaha, Vyapanashilatva, one who goes along with the blood each and every cells of the body, through each and every cells of the body. Vyanaha, one who spreads everywhere in this body. Prano, Udano, Samano, Vyano, and Apanaha, one who helps to put out all the things downward like urine, etc. We need the force to work downwards. Apanaha. These are the different forms of the prana when it goes inside the body. Prana, Vyana, Udana, Samana, Apana. One single vital force, when it enters inside the body, it divides itself into 5 for doing certain operations and functions inside the body, and it get different names according to their functions, what they do. 5 different pranas, pancha pranas. Because of their function, what they do, we sustain our body. Without them, it's impossible for the survival of this human body. So prana, all together, we say prana. The person who is present, who is residing inside the body, that consciousness, that entity who is all pervading in the universe, which we already saw through different things in the last class, in the form of sun, in the form of air, etc., etc. The same entity is there inside the body. Because of the presence of this entity inside the body, the prana comes inside through inhaling, goes upwards. Everywhere it will go through different forms. Actually, this 5 prana again divided into 5. So totally 10 actually, which is out of context now. I will explain you when a topic comes related to prana. Krigala, Kurma, Deva, Devadatta, Naga, Dhananjaya. Upapranaha, assistants of these 5 pranas. Upaprana. Anyway, that's not our topic now. For the time being, may you understand the vital force which enters our body divides itself into 3, into 5, and do certain functions inside the body. This prana do its job by whose presence, by whose command, by whose order. That entity being there, the prana enters inside one human body. And because of that entity, the apana, which goes downwards, which work, the operation is towards downwards. Because of the apana only we can sit in one place. When we push ourselves, the body, we can do the cleaning of the body due to the presence of the prana in the form of apana. It's very important. The vital force is considered is the direct Lord in one's life. Don't pollute this atmosphere or air by smoking, by overdriving the vehicles, so to different other things in our life. When we pollute this vital force, we are doing a crime in the view of this overlord, this entity, this Lord who is the protector of this world. That is why the first thing what we do early in the morning, the traditional people, they pray to these 5 elements, to the space, to the vital force, Vayuhu, to the fire, to the water, to the earth. After this prayer only, they will start their routine early morning. In traditional teachings, as a preparatory steps to enter in this spirituality, the Guru, the Vaidika, the Guru will give a prayer called Sandhya Vandhanam in the tradition. I want to make you know to the importance of this vital force. It's very important. The vital force, who is in the form of this cosmic air, due to his presence in the body, our body can do different things. We can eat, we can see, The doctors ophthalmologist will use to see the pressure in the eye, the pressure in the ear. Pressure means the presence of the air in a level inside that organ. There is a quantity of air needed in that organ in order to listen properly. That is why the pressure of the air is being analyzed by the doctors. So it's important to know the value of this vital force, what we call Vayu, Prana Vayu. Because of the presence of this Prana Vayu, our body can survive or can involve in different activities in this world. Okay. By whose presence the air, the vital force, comes inside the body and goes outside the body and again comes inside the body, again goes outside the body. By whose presence? Here it is told, Urdhvam pranam unnayati. By whose presence the pranavayu get inside and apanam pratyagasyadi. By whose presence the apana, the vital force which is in the form of apana, one who works towards downwards, by whose force, by whose presence? That entity, in the second line, it is told, is residing madhye. A location is given for an all-pervading entity, which is a contradiction, but it should be understood properly. When something is all-pervading, a specific location is a contradiction. Here, it is told like this. You see, madhye. What is meant by madhye? In the middle of the body, which is heart, hridaya pundarikam, in the form of a lotus upside down. The all-pervading entity who allows or who commands the vital force to come inside the body, who commands the force in the form of apana to work downwards inside the body. He is or it is residing in this middle part of the body, madhye, in the middle. So this contradiction we need to understand properly. For the sake of meditation, for the sake of understanding, always these Upanishads give certain locations so that a spiritual seeker can easily concentrate this all-pervading entity. As a beginner, we need a location to concentrate. Hridaya Pundarikam. Shankara says in his Bhashya, which I will read now, very beautifully, he has given, when Madhye, the word is given, then he says that Madhye should be taken as in Sanskrit, the word Madhya means middle part, right in the middle. So Here in Adi Shankara, the commentator says that Madhya should be taken as middle. Madhye tam madhye hridaya pundarika akashe. The space inside the heart. So whenever you see madhye, means heart is the central part of the body or the main part of the body. From the heart, the blood circulation will start and it flows all in and through all nerves and reach everywhere inside the body. So we know that the importance of the heart I need not explain. In this heart, Hridaya Pundarikam, heart will always resembles a lotus. When you keep a lotus upside down, in the same manner, the heart is being there in our left chest, behind the left chest. So, Pundarikam means a lotus. Inside the heart, where there is a space, as a beginner in the spiritual world, one can focus on that. In the heart, the all-pervading entity, which is everywhere, is being explained by the Upanishad by giving a location inside the heart. This seems to be a contradiction. When something is everywhere, which is all-pervading, how can one give a location for an entity? This location is given for the sake of meditation. Never get confused. Whenever the Upanishad says some location, it's for the sake of meditation. As a beginner, one can meditate this all-pervading entity inside the space of the heart. And Adi Shankara continues actually. I will read that sentence, very beautiful. Tam madhye hridaya pundarika akashe asinam buddhau abhivyakta vijnana prakashanam, which is also in the form of effulgence in one's own intellect. Abhivyaktam, manifested in the form of consciousness in one's own intellect. Whenever the intellect is mentioned in the Upanishad, we need to take that listening towards somebody from tradition and understanding properly as it is presented by the Upanishad. This process is called assimilation of Atma, understanding about the self, realization about the self. What is the process? For a length of 12 years at least, a person study under a guru continuously, which will take away all kinds of doubts, which will take away all kinds of passive obstacles, which will take away all kinds of erroneous notions, and the picture is completely clear about who am I. This is called realization of the self, or the self-knowledge presented in the Upanishad, knowing from a traditional teacher as it is. Whenever the intellect, buddhi guha, akashe, if it is there in the Upanishad, there is a process involved. What is the process? Going to the Guru for a length of time and listening towards the traditional teacher. Why? A wrong information can only be sold by getting the right information. If I have certain mistaken ideas about myself, and I want to clear that mistaken ideas, there is only one way. Listen the right knowledge about oneself and take away all the erroneous notions about oneself. But it is a long process for an ordinary person. Somebody can come to the Guru without any preparation, lacking of prerequisites, even though you can listen to the Guru, not completely clear what he says, I may say. So, at the same time, one can listen also, one can cultivate the prerequisites also. Together, sadhana chatushtaya sampannaha bhavishyati tatha atmajnani. So, cultivation of prerequisites also need certain course of time. At the same time, one needs to listen to the traditional teacher for a length of time. Both activities will make the person to know who am I, that self-recognized personality. He is called Atmajnani, well-informed person, a matured person. Why? He knows that there is a process involved. Just because of meditation, everything will not happen. One needs to know to whom I should related, how I can meditate, what is the object of meditation, why should I meditate myself towards the heart. All these things should be cleared properly by listening again and again. That is why Shankara told here, Hridaya Pundariga Akashe Asinam, which is residing, Buddhi Buddhau Avibhakta Vijnana Prakashanam, which is manifested in the form of consciousness through listening from the words of traditional teacher. First, it will be in the form of thoughts. After that, it will be in the form of mass consciousness. There will be no thoughts at all. Continuous flow of thoughts will become one single mass of consciousness. For that sake only, one needs to meditate. At the same time, one needs to cultivate the prerequisites by listening to the traditional teachers' words, and also from the information you gathered from the traditional teacher about the prerequisites, one needs to work on that also. The whole process is being told by one single word, Buddhau, in the intellect, manifested in the intellect in the form of consciousness. What is that entity which is manifested in the form of intellect? Vamanam. The word Vamanam means Varaniyam, to be respected, to be worshipped, to be invoked. All these words can go with Varaniyam. That entity which commands respect, that entity which should be worshipped by everybody. That all-pervading entity is called Vamanaha. which commands respect, which is the object of meditation. This all-pervading entity, who is the form of mass consciousness, which is available in the intellect. First of all, in the intellect, it will be in the form of thoughts, because when you listen, it is the first way of meditation. The whole 1 hour, you are meditating all on this all-pervading entity by listening and through different thoughts. After that, the body, which is appearing to be real, is only a superimposed form on the real consciousness. That Vamanaha, that entity, what is that? Vamanam, Asinam, which is residing inside the heart, which is residing in the space of heart. Devaha upasade. Devaha. You can literally take that as the organs of the body. Because of the presence of this entity, all the organs of the body can involve in their own activities, and they will do the job for the sake of this entity. The ears can listen because of the presence of this entity. The eyes can see certain objects right in front of them due to the presence of this entity. The nose can smell different things. Some are fragrant, some are rotten. How it can be possible for these two holes? Because of the presence of this all-knowing entity, almighty entity. Because of the presence of this entity, the tongue have the capacity to reveal the exact taste what I keep in my tongue. Because of the presence of the entity, I can speak towards you. You can listen towards me. Because of the presence of the entity, the heart beats. Because of the presence of this entity, the blood flows. The lungs work in its own way. The kidney, everything, the entire system, not only in the physical plane, but also in the psychological plane, mental plane, everything. Because of this presence of this entity, my sukshma shariram, mind, intellect, etc., can go through different things. My psychological plane, I can receive certain things from my past. I can think about my future. I can take a decision about myself. I can learn some lessons from my past. I can judge somebody according to their nature and behavior. All these psychological emotions also, due to the presence of whom, by whose presence I can remember certain things, by whose presence I can do certain activities by my hands, by whose presence the hair grows, by whose presence my food get digested, by whose presence the entire system grows, go to a metamorphose daily. All these things are involved in one single word, upasate. All these organs are connected to one single entity for their work in the respective fields. By whose presence, by whose blessings. That entity is you, O Nachiketas. This is the message the Lord Yama wants to convey to Nachiketas through this verse. A logical presentation by whose presence the prana, the vital force, enters inside the body, and by whose presence the apana, the force working downwards in the body, by whose presence all the organs can work in their respective fields. That Lord, who is Almighty, the All-Knowing, that Lord is to be worshipped, Vamanaha, to be invoked by you, not this body as yourself. Mistaken identity about oneself should be negated by the right knowledge. Just like when you get the information about the thing inside a dark room, this is a rope. All the notion regarding the rope, like snake, it is a stick, etc., should be given up. I have already preoccupied ideas about myself. I am a man. I am fair. I am this much tall. I am a trader. I am a business executive. I am a teacher. I am wealthy. I am poor. I am not well. I have different issues. All these things are just like the notion about the rope, a snake it is. All this notion, I am a husband, I am a son, I am a father. It is a wrong notion, like a snake is superimposed in the rope. How? Without knowing the knowledge about the rope. The superimposition can only occur when you don't have the right knowledge. Similarly, when I don't have the right knowledge about oneself, that I am this all-pervading entity, the all-knowing entity, which is the base and which is the substratum of this physical body. That being understood properly, a person is freed from all kind of bondages because his body notion is not there at all after getting the proper knowledge about oneself. That is why it is told here, all the organs are working. It can only work due to the presence of somebody, and that is me. And my body is not at all myself. I am this all-pervasive Lord, which is all-knowing, almighty, which is also inside this body. When it is all-pervasive, which is also there residing inside this body also. And all the organs are connected and they are working according to their privilege, according to their freedom, whatever it may be, because of this presence of this entity. Very beautifully, the Lord Death given this information to Nachiketas individually. The previous verse given the cosmic information. Now this verse gives the information regarding the individual. Next verse now. Okay. Just I will read the next verse and we will see the meaning in the next class. Very beautifully again. Verse number 4. Asya visramsamanasya sharirastasya dehinaha dehadi vimuchyamanasya kimanna parishishyade etat vaitat. I will read once more. Asya visramsamanasya sharirastasya dehinaha dehadi vimuchyamanasya kimanna parishishyate etat vaitat. After this depart of this entity from this body, what will be there to see? There is a contradiction. We should be understood properly. For an all-pervading entity, there cannot be depart. There is no arrival at all, because no space in the world which is whether there is this entity is lacking. Everywhere it is presented. When something is all pervasive, how can an entity come and how can an entity go? From the body, this verse should be understood properly. When this entity departs from the body become again inert. So how can we account this depart and the birth of this presence of entity in this body? Again, I will repeat, there is no depart, there is no presence, there is no traveling of the entity from this body. But this verse says that when this entity departs from the body, this body becomes inert. How it's possible? Because of this entity's presence only, this body can be active. And we should know thoroughly what is the meaning of depart. We are going to see in the next class. Om Swasti Prajabhya Paripalayantam Nyayena Margena Mahim Mahishaha Gobrahmanebhya Shupamastu Nityam Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu Kale Varshadu Parjanyah Prithvi Sasya Shalini Desho Yangshoparahitaha Brahmana Santu Nirbhayaha Sarve Bhavantu Suginaha Sarve Santu Niramayaha Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu Ma Kaschid Dukkha Bhag Bhavet Asato Ma Sadgamaya Tamaso Ma Jyotirgamaya Mrityorma Amritam Gamaya Om Purnamatav Purnamitam Purnat Purnamutachyate Purnasya Purnamataya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.